Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Harmonious World. My name is Hilary Seabrook. This podcast is inspired by a Quincy Jones quote that goes something like, "Imagine what a harmonious world it would be if everyone shared a little of what they're good at." And here on Harmonious World, I chat with musicians and those with an interest in music to get them to share what they are good at. My past guests include seasoned Grammy winners and nominees, as well as people starting out on their journey and those in between. Alongside Harmonious World, my blog contains album and live performance reviews, and all the links are in the show notes. For this episode, I'm joined by sax player Matt Carmichael. I saw and heard Matt playing on Saturday night with Claire Cope. He's part of Ensemble C, and their new album, Every Journey, is out now. And the interview I did with Claire is a previous episode. So I hope you enjoy listening to that as well. So Matt Carmichael's new album, Dancing with Embers, is out on March the 28th. And he's based in Glasgow. And there's a very definite Scottish sound to this new album. What you're listening to now is Stone Skimmer. Matt is actually joined on this album by pianist Fergus McCready, who is really quite wonderful, and another very Scottish jazz musician who I really enjoy his music as well. I hope you enjoy listening to my conversation with Matt Carmichael.
Morning, Hilary. How you doing?
I'm good, Matt. Thanks. How are you?
I'm good. It's nice to see you briefly.
Yeah.
The other night it was a nice gig.
It was a very nice gig, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, it's amazing just bringing together all those musicians. It's such hard work, so it's nice for Claire. Yeah, it's nice to see her finally get it out and perform it and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great venue, isn't it? Jazz Cafe Posk.
Really great atmosphere, nice community sort of. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. And they've got so much jazz going on there. I was looking at their timetable, their schedule. It's amazing.
Mm.
Yeah. So you're back at home in Glasgow now?
Yeah, I got the train back yesterday and arrived back. Yeah, yesterday.
Yeah.
Afternoon.
Yeah. Well, it was really good to hear you in that ensemble, having heard this album, Dancing with Embers. So you're excited about that coming out in a few days now?
Yeah, no, looking forward to getting it out. It's kind of recorded, I guess, always with these albums, you've recorded them a few years ago, so it's kind of, it's nice to finally get them out in the world and share the music that's been sitting on the computer for ages.
Sure. So the music was recorded a while ago. When was it written?
I guess probably about 3 years ago, 2/3 years ago. I recorded half the album. I actually recorded the full album, I think it was 2 years ago, and then I re-recorded some of it. So I wrote some new things maybe a little bit later. But I guess written probably about 3 years ago, and then get the funding to record it, and it's just it's kind of long process sometimes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And at some point you have to let it go, don't you? And you have to mark that as a moment in time and then, move on to other stuff.
Yeah, I guess that's the problem when you're sitting on it for so long. You're like, should I do it again? So sometimes it's nice to, if you're able to release really quickly, it saves that hassle.
Yeah. But I was very interested to read that you said that you write on the piano.
Yeah, I guess all the harmony is there. Like, I play saxophone, but it's not as I guess it's very singular notes with the saxophone. So I've never actually wrote a single tune on saxophone. So it's always quite, when I come to the music playing the saxophone, it's from a completely different place because I've not it's like new and fresh to me, and I've not conceived it on the saxophone. So it's it's always kind of fresh to play. I never really practice my tunes, so hopefully in the head, but you come to play them in the rehearsal like, oh, I've not played it sometimes. But yeah, it's nice having the yeah. I guess if you wrote on saxophone, sometimes it could. I'm more technically proficient and stuff, and maybe the music would be different. I don't know. It would be an interesting exercise. I've never done it, but um, yeah, it'd be interesting. I don't know if I think most people write on piano or guitar or something. I've not. Maybe some saxophone players do, but I don't really.
Yeah, I think some sax players come up with a melody,
Right.
first, and then they'll take it to, either guitar or a piano. But I find that I find that I mean the whole composition process really interesting. I've never been a composer,
Right.
and I find it really interesting. Claire actually posted something the other day where she spent hours on one bar and still wasn't sure it was right. You
Yeah,
know that.
it's similar to releasing and recording in some ways. Sometimes it's nice to like set yourself a deadline. Oh, I'm going to finish this by the end of the day because it forces you to make quick decisions. Because if you're staying on the same tune for ages, you go and make tiny edits, and you can just be there forever. So there's benefits to both. It's nice
Yeah.
to have extra time, but sometimes it's nice to just let the process happen quickly.
Yeah. Your sound, your tenor sound is lovely. And one of the things I particularly, because obviously, as I said, I'd been listening to Dancing with Embers, but then heard you playing in a different, with Ensemble C in a different environment. One of the things I particularly liked about Claire's writing was where tenor, trombone, and flugel were sort of intermeshed, and there were some moments that was just beautiful.
Yeah. Claire writes interesting music. It's I've never played in an ensemble. I guess I've played in lots of big bands, which has similar, but in the small sort of setting where it's more singular instruments within their section. But yeah, it's nice to play in that band. It's really interesting writing a lot going on between all the instruments when they come together. It's a fun
Yeah.
project.
Yeah, and I think there's something about the physicality of it because there's Rob on baritone, bass clarinet, and a bit of flute, and then there's you, and then trombonist, then two trumpets slash flugel and trumpet, and we don't in big bands we tend to sit in ranks where you've got the saxophones and then the trombones behind and then the trumpets behind, so you're physically much closer to the trumpets, aren't you,
Yeah,
with that?
but it's better that way, I think, because in big
Oh
bands
yeah.
you've usually trombones and trumpets right behind you, so it blasts your ear. But when
Yeah.
they're at the side, it's a bit safer.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk a bit more about Dancing with Embers because the inspiration for the album seems to have come from, I mean, it's very definitely, there's a Scottish feel, isn't there?
Yeah, I guess I live in Scotland. I play with a lot of musicians associated with the folk music here, and I think it's natural that that music seeps in. Like this, the scene in Glasgow is very broad. There's a jazz scene, but there's also like some of the best folk musicians in the world, and I've found myself playing with a lot of them. And yeah, I guess when I went to jazz college, I was really obsessed with jazz when I was in high school, and then when I went to jazz college and I was like being told to learn jazz and all that sort of stuff, it kind of forced me to listen to other music, and that's when I really got into folk music, sort of emulating fiddle players and whistle players and pipers the same way you would like transcribe a saxophone solo. So yeah, I've always kind of loved that music, and I think it naturally, I guess, with any composers, the sort of the music you listen to all sort of melts into one pot of
Yeah.
your own.
Yeah. And there are very definite folk elements and sounds and timbres that come into that. I want to play at this point a clip from Kite. And there's a really interesting story about how that came to be actually performed, with how Fergus Macready played it in a different key. And you suddenly went, oh, hang on, that's where it needs to be.
Oh yeah, it's just yeah, I think we were just in the studio. We always played this tune in E, and I think he was just fumbling about with it in a different key, and I was just like, oh, let's just try it like that and see how it sounds. And because we gigged this tune before, so yeah, we just sort of went for it in that key, and it worked out fine. And yeah, it had this sort of nice, fresh spontaneity. Everyone was sort of on their, not on their edge, but like everything felt new because we're playing it in a different, the same tune we know, but like in a different scenario. So I think that brought, uh, yeah, a nice bit of life to the studio version, or a bit of, uh, what's the word, vulnerability, which is nice.
It's a great track. I really like Kite. I think it's a lovely one, and as you say, there's a real spontaneity, and I see in the notes that I got about the album that this is just the first take. You obviously, it's a tune that you know because you gig it, but I love it when that spontaneity feels like it's real, and you know your notes prove that that's true.
Yeah, um, yeah. Sometimes when you're in the studio, it's. I mean, not every track on it is a first take, but there's something about the first take. Sometimes it's feels fresh because when you're bashing through take and take, always sort of you just might be searching for something, but after a couple of takes, sometimes it just sort of diminished returns.
So you mentioned that you were at music college. Where did you go? Where did you study?
Just the one in Glasgow, like the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland. It's kind of a yeah, nice
Yeah.
sort of small house there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the Glasgow music scene in particular seems to be really, I mean, the jazz scene seems to be really strong.
Yeah, I think it's down to a lot of different things, but they used to there's only been a course for like students to stay for about 12, maybe 12 or so years. So everyone used to go to America or go to London, and there's always been some great jazz musicians in Glasgow, but I think having this as sort of a center point brings musicians here, and sort of it's created more of a community. More people have stayed, and I think that's a big part of it. And yeah, sort of a small scene, nice community, and a lot of people write their own music and have their own sort of sound or so.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a nice
definitely.
thing to be part of.
So this album is out March 28th. Have you got plans to tour it?
Yeah, there's a variety of sort of sporadic tours throughout UK and Europe, and also doing some of the music with the WDR big band, just sort of finishing off some of the arrangements for that um, at the moment. So that's really exciting to bring the music to life in a big band setting. And yeah, touring sort of with my regular band, playing the music, which will be great. Yeah.
That's brilliant. Fantastic. Yeah. And working with the WDR big band, that must be really nice.
Yeah, I did a project with them few years ago. It was a really nice sort of surprise. I just released my first album, and they sort of got in touch. Bob Minster did the arrangements for that, and then this time splitting the arrangements. So it's nice. It'd be fun to. Last time it was just playing, but it'd be exciting to bring some arrangements this time and have them realised. But yeah, they're such an amazing band, and they play.
Yeah.
So that'd be fun.
Yeah, brilliant. Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. And it was really good to meet you in person first. It's not often that it happens that way around.
I know, but and I've got my key ring, Harmonious World key ring.
Excellent. Yeah, that's a very special thing, you know.
Yeah.
Be proud of it.
No worries. Nice to speak to you, Hilary.
I hope you enjoyed listening to that conversation with Matt Carmichael, and what you're listening to now is Beckoning Night. So please remember that you can find reviews of albums and live gigs, including Claire Cope and Ensemble C's Every Journey. I hope you enjoy listening to Harmonious World. Do get in touch with any comments you might have. And until the next episode, just have a great week. Thank you for listening to the latest episode of Harmonious World. My name is Hilary Seabrook, and it's a great delight to bring this series of discussions with musicians and composers and writers and all sorts of people to you. Obviously, there's no point in having a podcast if people aren't listening, and I'm very grateful to my listeners for doing so. Thanks also to Joe English for composing and performing this new theme tune. So wherever you get your podcast, you can leave a review. You can share this with your friends and family, either as a link or on social media and that sort of thing. I'd be really grateful for that. Don't forget that you can subscribe now. There's a link wherever you get your podcasts. So have a great week, and please remember why I started this, which is just to try and make the world a little more harmonious. Thanks for listening to Harmonious World.